Okay, so we're now live. Good evening, everybody. This is our live for this evening. We're going to start doing them every few weeks, just so keep you updated with what's going on in the life of Paranation. This evening we've got Mark, who's an experienced ghost hunter, and we've also got Gemma, who's also a very experienced ghost hunter. And we're going to just sort of like go through what we'll be doing, the events that are coming up, and just tell you a little bit about what we're doing, what we've been doing, and keep you updated with all our events. So where should we start?
Well, what we thought we would do, Julia, is I was going to ask you all about where you started and what we do, so people who are watching can learn a little bit about our group. So why don't I start by asking you a few questions, Julia, about how we ended up sitting here on our podcast? How'd that sound?
Yeah. Should we start there, and then we'll work our way onto other bits and pieces? But yeah, that sounds great.
So rumour has it that we started nearly 2 decades ago, Julia. So why don't you talk us
Oh,
through our first ever ghost hunt, what it was like, where you went, and then we'll bring us up to the modern day after that. How's that sound?
that sounds great. Yeah. We started Paranation 17 years ago. We're in March now. 17 years ago, we started Paranation, and it was just through going on events with other people and just looking and thinking, oh, we want to do something just that little bit different. We want to give people free roaming. We want to do new experiments. We want to try things for ourselves just to see if we, if it is real, or whether it's mind over matter, whether it's loads and loads of questions we had. So that's why we started our Paranation. Our very first event was March, I think it was 2008, and that was at the Exposure Museum, Pretty Hard. And we were only going to do one, and that was it. We're going to go back to normal family life, day-to-day working life, and everything. And it didn't stop there. And here we are today, 17 years later.
So
So
we've done hundreds of these now, Julia. What's the perfect structure for organising an event? Because you mentioned that you like them quite free flowing. What does that mean?
I think to give people the opportunity to go off and do their own thing. A lot of people that come have done ghost hunting before, and or they're new people and they think, look, I don't really want to get too involved. I'm quite happy just to go off and do a little bit of um filming or sitting there and doing my own thing, a little bit of tapping, calling out, or I just want to have a look around the place, and then I might go and join them in a bit of ghost hunting once I feel a bit braver. um but yeah, lots of people come, lots of people have different interests, and they just want to go off and do their own thing, really. And we've also got experienced team who've got, oh gosh, at least a decade of experience each under their belt. And yeah, we just want to go off and do good events, and I think good planning beforehand so that everything runs to plan. And I know some of you seen us before the event starts, and we've been a little bit frazzled and not our normal self, such as the warrior mark, which was that was quite challenging in the circumstances with the weather and everything. But with a little bit of persuasion, we can make the event go ahead. But yeah, it's lots of planning. I believe planning, making sure everybody knows what they're doing, making sure everything's in order before we arrive on site.
So I remember when I go, we tend to have about between 20 and 40 people most events. And I was noticing that Gemma's been practicing her best ever just seen a ghost face. But Gemma, you quite often go off and lead a group. What do you do when you've got a group of new people? What can they expect?
Um, what can I expect? Um, well, I introduce myself to them, make them feel comfortable. If when I take a group off, I just get to know the group that I'm with, and what they want to get from the experience. I don't push anyone. There's some groups that come with me that are they're new, and some of them are scared and they don't want to try anything, and that's absolutely fine. They can just watch us. They don't have to do anything. Yeah, and we just do, walk around, do some experiments. Quite a lot of the time, we do get quite a lot of stuff, and I've got to say, all the groups I've taken, they've thoroughly enjoyed doing it, and they get quite shocked when the lights going off or the glass is moving. Which, yeah, really, I think it's been quite a few places we've been. I don't think there's been anywhere we haven't been that hasn't been really that active. I think most of the places have been active, but also they're quite eerie and they've got lots of history. And lots, they do, yeah. So I think, and it's not all about we have a laugh as well. And yeah, we just the people that I take, we just get on, and they thoroughly enjoy it, really.
You're good at meeting and greeting, aren't you?
I'm good at meeting and greeting. Yeah. I don't think I've actually had anyone that has like wandered off from me, really. So I must be doing something okay.
So I've done the maths now, Julia and Gemma, and if you've been going about 17 years at about 12 times a year, then we're well into our 200s. And Julia, you always give the same introductory speech, so I won't make you repeat the here's the food and here's the drinks, here's the health and safety bit, but also you do an introduction to all the equipment that we've got and all the things that we can do. And both of you have mentioned that you can do little experiments and tasks and what have you. So if you join Paranation, what's open to you? What are the typical things that you can do if you want to join in one of these activities?
We do lots of traditional experiments because we like to keep those going as well, because a lot of people nowadays like to jump in with the gadgets, whereas we do have a lot of gadgets, but we also like to do the traditional methods, such as table tipping, calling out, knocking. We like to do like the human pendulum and just general sort of like run-of-the-mill traditional methods. So I can't think of any more off the top of my head. And we've also got the gadgets as well, where we've got like the shadow tracker where the lights go up, and the motion activated music box. People love doing the glass, people love doing the Ouija board, but we also have things like a balloon, where we'll place a balloon in the middle of a room. As long as there's no wind or breeze or anything, we can maybe get the spirits to maybe move the balloon because it's nice and light. We have glow-in-the-dark ping pong balls as well. So it's not all gadgets. Sometimes it's, we use items as well as traditional methods. So it's not all like flashing and dancing in front of you.
Yeah, so, to be honest, I think also the traditional methods, everyone has their own opinion, but I don't think you can beat traditional methods, like a bit of knocking. Can you copy and knock? We've been on many events where, we've done, tapping, and it's all silent and there's no one there. And the spirit will copy you. And it's quite, it's very, very good.
Like Devizes Town Hall. Do you remember the table when we were in a room with 6 new people we've never met before, myself and Gemma, and we asked them to knock, and they were literally knocking underneath our table, weren't they? And it was just amazing. The people with us said that they'd been with a couple of other groups before, ghost hunting, but they'd never experienced anything like what we were getting. We were getting a planchette writing, we were getting knocking, we were getting a voice, curtains swaying. And she said, oh my gosh, because we've never had this amount of activity before from all the times we've been ghost hunting with other groups. And I looked at my watch and I said, well, we've only been going an hour. So they were really impressed, weren't they? And we don't, if nothing happens, nothing happens. I will not fake anything. I will not make anything happen. If it doesn't happen, it's just bad luck. Maybe it's just one of those things.
I think it's luck on the night, really. And also I think it's it depends if there's been other people, other companies there, and it's been worked over, I can't.
Not overworked, if it's.
Sorry, yeah. If it's overworked.
Been a long week.
Yeah, it has been a long week. So yeah, like Julia said, nothing's ever faked or anything. It's sometimes you get, you can come away from an event and you might not get anything, and then others you get amounts of stuff. So yeah.
So one of the things I've noticed is, Julia, that quite often we'll get down to a Ouija board or drawing pictures or what have you. You have a very calm and relaxed style, but that can't be the said for all of us, because Gemma, you're the best person for screaming and responding when something happens in the room, as well as being one of our friendliest investigators. So what's been the best, most jump scare, most scary moment?
She gets frightened.
Because even after 17 years, Gemma, you react as if you've seen something for the first time every single time.
To be fair, yeah.
Devices.
Everyone thinks I'm mad. Do you know, I think what's been I just get really jumpy. Do you know what I think it is? I think I love the adrenaline, but I think I can't. I've just got like a jumpy personality. I just I'm going to be honest with you. I get scared. And people say to me, well, why do you go? And I go because I'm interested and I'm a believer, and I can't not go, but I do get scared. I can't really work that one out.
Do you remember when we were at the D-Day tunnels, donkeys years ago, and I didn't know Gemma that well then, and we were walking along. I was probably about a foot behind Gemma, and all of a sudden, myself and Gemma heard this almost like a voice coming through a radio. And both of us must have jumped probably about a foot in the air backwards. We both heard it at the same time, and we both jumped. And it doesn't matter how many ghost hunts you do or how many times you go to that place, there's always something that catches you unaware.
At that moment. And is there any particular piece of equipment that triggers you? For me, for example, it's the Ouija board. I always associate that with the old 1970s films, and I think they're really creepy. But is there anything like that? Because we have things where the lights go off, we have cat balls that move, balloons that move, ping pong balls, you name it. What if we're going to make you jump? What makes you jump?
Personally, it's if I feel like a presence, or I get, I felt like someone's touching me on the arm. Of course you're going to jump, aren't you? If someone's pressing on your arm and you look and there's nobody there. I don't know. I just think it's a whole atmosphere. I'm just very jumpy.
And do you like big groups or little groups, or do you like it really dark, no torches? What's the
really
best
dark?
way? Really dark.
Yeah, I personally think it's better. If it's, I think you get more activity. Personally, people might not agree, but when it's dark, and also sometimes you have torches, and you got the torches, and then I sometimes I don't even think spirit likes, I think they like it when it's really dark, but I could be wrong. That's just my personal preference. That's what I think. Other people might not agree. So
And people always seem to target the darkest places, don't they? If somewhere has a dungeon or a cellar or a downstairs or an attic, they seem to be the places that people go for, is what I've noticed.
Yeah, dungeons.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's like more of a, I don't know, is it like a myth? Like, do you think, oh, you know, I don't know, what wonder what that could be. Like, I don't know.
But then sometimes when we've been doing experiments, we've had to like turn all the lights out, and people are, you know, shining their torches, trying to see what's going on, and they're like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? And you have to say, look, you know, let's just turn all the lights, all the torches off, and try and get the glass going. And you turn all the lights off, everything's pitch black, and it starts to move. And I think that's quite creepy when the glass starts to move and it's really dark, and then you try and introduce like a little red light or a little blue light just to try and so you can at least see something happening. But yeah, it's quite eerie.
And
How
I've
about you, Mark?
noticed it.
What about you?
Well, you know, have you noticed I'm dodging all these bullets?
I know.
For me, I love anything that's cliche, and I think I've said this many times. I love the haunted house feel. I love the dungeon in the castle. I love crawling around the corridors and what have you, or going, like sometimes we'll go to a theatre, so I love going backstage, seeing all those little areas that you don't normally see. Because for me, part of it is just the sense of adventure, that you get to crawl over a massive, great big place, which probably has like 40 to 60 rooms. And sometimes you can, like the Warrior was a perfect example. We walked, myself and someone else called Angela, we walked around for, I think it was about 45 minutes and never saw another person. And we were looking for people. So sometimes these places can be vast. And I think that's really scary. And I think another scary moment for me is anytime I realize I need the loo, because then you have to walk on your own through this place all the way back and then come all the way back to your group. And yeah, I feel, because I'm a big, strong boy, I don't really like to ask you if you'll both come with me because I'm a bit scared. So I think that's a good one. But one of the things I've noticed is both of you always say, feel our energy, or something about the energy of the people in the room. And I've often wondered, what does that mean?
I believe that they need our energy to help make things work. So if you've just got the glass and you've got one person on the glass, it's very unlikely the glass is going to move. I believe you need 2 or 3, maybe more people to make the glass move. And I think they use your energy, and that helps to make things happen. And like if you're in a big room and there's like a balloon in the middle of the floor, and you've got like I think we were in devices down in the dungeon, which dated back to like 1600s, and there was probably about 15 of us all squashed into this little dungeon, and we had the balloon in the middle. We had some shadow trackers set up, music boxes set up, some other bits and pieces, and because there were so many people there, there's so much energy there, that I think that's what helps everything sort of like move, and helps, you know, build up the energy and just project it into moving stuff and making things happen. But I think that they need us. The more of us there is, the more that they can use what we've got to make things happen, if that makes sense. I probably haven't explained that very well.
So what you're saying is, if you want the ghost to have energy, they need some of our energy in order to move the very real stuff that's in the room.
I think that, you know, you only get out of it what you put into it. And if you turn up at an event like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm here, you know, show me stuff, you know, I don't think it's you know, it's not the right energy, if you get my drift. Whereas if you come in, you're full of energy, and you're sort of like, yeah, we're going to have a great time tonight, and very positive, and and I think that helps as well. Lots of laughing, positive outlook, and that really sort of like gives a good feel to the place, and I think that's what they like. They that's what they sort of feed off of, if you get my drift. But yeah, just sort of like, really sort of like good energy, and if you're all sitting there with your finger on the glass saying, is there anybody there? Can you come and move the glass? They're going to think, oh, really? But if you're, yeah, and sometimes when we're there and we all got our fingers on the glass and nothing's working,
and we start talking amongst each other, and you're not actually contacting the spirit. You're just talking amongst yourself, or you're having a laugh, and then all of a sudden it all starts kicking off. The lights start flashing, the glass starts going berserk, you start hearing knocks, and that's a bit of a like you said, it must be like an energy amongst ourselves or something.
yeah, because we're chatting amongst ourselves and we're laughing and giggling about things we've done, or funny things that have happened during the week, and we're not paying them any attention, and they're like, oh, hang on, but I think it's you only get out of it what you put into it, and if you come in with a really good energy, full of beans, very positive attitude, then I think you're going to have a really good night.
So do you need to be a seasoned ghost hunter to join Paranation, or can complete novices turn up? And if they do, what can they expect?
I think everybody's welcome.
Anyway,
Everybody's
yeah.
welcome. And even like people that have never done it before, they'll turn up really excited, but maybe a little bit scared. And we're like, oh, come in, come and do this, come and do that, and come and join in with this. And
that's like I
I think
said,
they're just hooked, aren't they?
Yeah, when I've taken groups off, some groups, I think one group, it was for their dad's 70th birthday. There was about 7 or 8. They were all one family, and they had not done anything like it before. And they went. A couple of them really wanted to try stuff, and then but I think because I had quite a good energy, I think quite a lot of stuff happened that night as well. I think the glass was going quite, a lot of movement, lots of the cat ball. I think we had quite a lot of table tipping, and yes, like I say, I think if you're open-minded, I think it's when you sometimes you do get some people, they come and they're like, they're not open-minded, and which is fine if but
So I remember once the cat ball incident. Do you remember that? There was a lot of screaming when we put a cat ball. We were in a mill by a door, no breezes, nothing.
Oh, the mill.
Yeah, and it suddenly shot across the room about 12 feet. And it was really interesting because the whole room screamed, involuntary, just even the people who are normally cool and relaxed and what have you. It was so dramatic. Are there any examples like that you guys have had where it's just actually been like a horror movie, something really dramatic has happened and created a reaction?
That was the first time we met you, wasn't it?
Yeah, actually. What an entrance.
It was. Off the top of my head. Yeah, I think I've got a few stories. Arundel Jail a few years ago. We were in the condemned cell. We were all squashed in there. It's a very tiny place. You can probably only have sort of 10, 15 people max. And there must have been about 8 of us all crammed in this tiny cell. We were in contact with this guy called Nigel, and he had, just from memory, this was a long time ago, he had escaped from, he spelt it, and we said, oh, Dartmoor, because his spelling, it sort of like said something like Dartmoor, and he said yes. So he escaped from Dartmoor, then he was captured, and then he ended up in Arundel Jail. So the story goes. And he kept on, like, people kept saying, oh, I feel like something's touching me. I feel like something's touching me. And I feel like something touched my hand. I feel like something touched my head. I feel like something touched my shoulder. And I said, do you keep touching these people? And he said, yes. And it got really, the whole room, because people say when there's a ghost around, it gets really cold. But the atmosphere got really hot and heavy, almost like you could cut it with a knife. And I find that's what I experience when there's a ghost around. It gets really hot, really thick atmosphere, really heavy. And then we heard in the bar area this glass fall off the shelf. And we're like, oh my God, what's that? What's that? Run out. Oh my God. And we said, did you just knock the glass off the shelf? And he said, yeah. And I think that was the only time when I thought to myself, do you know, I'm getting to that point where I need to close this down, because this is getting a little bit too much for me, which is quite unusual. But you know, usually we would try and push it and push it and push it, but you know, we did carry on, and he did calm down a little bit. But yeah, how about you, Gemma?
There was well, I think it might have been Fort Widley. I'm not sure if you were there, Julia, when there was a group of us in the room. Was it to do with someone called Nick? Do you remember that?
Nasty Nick.
Nasty Nick, and then he told us to go. He said he'd murdered a nurse or something. I can't remember now. And he told us to go to a certain point in the fort. I can't remember the name of where he told us to go now. And we actually found where he told us to go. And then the nurse that he murdered, which was very odd, she got in contact with, or we got in contact with her. It was very bizarre. Which is bizarre because we got in contact with one spirit, and then they're telling you to go to a certain, a certain place in this massive fort, and you find it, and then he's telling you to go and meet her, and obviously you don't meet her, but you get in contact, and he said that I think she got strangled by him or something.
I can't quite remember the story, but I know Nasty Nick and the nurse.
It was yeah, that was very. And also that time in the Wimmering Manor with the man.
That one.
Yeah, that was
that one.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that has to be one of my scariest moments. We were at Wimmering Manor. There was myself, Gemma and Neil. We were in the front room doing some glass moving because we weren't allowed to use the boards at Wimmering. We got in touch with this lady, and the glass was like moving and tipping and dancing. And we said, "Oh, you a dancer?" She said, "Yeah, she was." But the story has it that a man in the cellar killed her in the cellar, and I think he bricked her up in the wall or something down there. So we said, "Oh, if we go down to cellar, will we see you?" And she said, "Yeah." Oh no, if we go down to cellar, will we see the man? And she said, "Yeah." So Neil went off for coffee, and me and Gemma thought, "Come on, let's go and see if we can see him." And I was like leading the way. I had my camera going, because I was like filming as we were going down. Gemma was coming behind me, and we got down there, and I was like panning around my camera as I do. And Gemma said, "No." She goes, "I've got to get out." And
it felt so horrible down there.
I said, no, stay. Anyway, Gemma's just turned around. She started walking upstairs, and I thought, oh, it's too scary. I'm not staying down here on my own.
I was leaving you in there.
Don't leave me. I was like, don't leave me. So I was like, oh, quick. It's too dark. And anyway, next day, as a joke, I sent the recording to Gemma. And I said, look, see, what were you scared of? There's nothing down there. What were you scared of? And we just left it at that. We had a bit of a laugh. And then Gemma showed it to your dad, didn't you?
And my dad's a bit of a skeptic, really. He's not, And he saw it straight away. There was a video, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And my dad said, look, there's a man walking. I was like, really? I never saw it. And clear as day, there's a man. He looks like he's leant against the brick wall. And it's almost like he goes 1, 2, 3. and
And then
then
walks.
he walks. And
It still gives me shivers. I was like, shiver. It still gives me shivers to this
And
day.
he's holding a bag, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got a bag in his hand.
Clear as day. And that is probably one of my top things that we've caught.
Yeah.
And the
that's
fact
got to be my scariest one as well.
The fact we were talking to a bit like Fort Widley, you're talking to someone and they tell you to go into another part of the building, and you go there, and then you find something like that, you know. But I didn't like it down there. It was very it was a bit creepy anyway, but I know I had been down there a couple of times before that evening, but I don't know why. I don't know if it was because she had told us to go down there, so it was already in my head, so I was a bit freaked out anyway, or whether I just felt really I don't know, there was something about it. I felt like someone was looking at me. I don't know, it just felt really dark, and oh no, I had to go. I'm a wimp anyway at the best of times, but yeah, no, that was I had to go, and I did leave you down there. Well, I thought I was half up the stairs, and you were still taking a video.
I was like, oh, hang on, let me just finish recording. I couldn't stay down there. What about you, Mark? What's your most scariest time ghost hunting?
I think a place called Manor Farm. I think I've told you the story where I was sitting with someone and we were in the darkness and there was a face looking at us on the wall, and we were discussing how ugly this person in the picture looked in this painting. Looked on the wall, and they were sort of glaring at us, and we thought, well, we're going to have fun when we turn the lights on, looking at that, because who collects ugly paintings like that? And of course someone came down and turned the lights on and there was no painting, and we were like, oh my god, you know. So that could have just been shadows on the wall that formed a face shape, but we were really freaked out by that one. And it happens when you don't expect it, really. Sometimes I think the things that Gemma mentioned about when you feel someone's breathing on you or touching you or anything physical seems to have an effect. But what I'm interested in is what people believe as well, because how many members do we have in Paranation now, Julia? It's a ton.
I think it's 1.8k.
So of the nearly 2,000 members that we've got, there's a whole load of different opinions. And I was wondering if you could just give me examples of what people believe, because I've heard people talk about portals. I've heard people talk about looking back in time. I've heard people talking about trapped spirits. So what sort of beliefs do you get in the group? What do people actually think that they're looking at when they're experiencing things that they think are ghosts?
That's a good question.
When people both now, a bit of science.
Yeah. When people turn up, I think I don't really know what they expect as a newbie. I don't know whether they believe they're going to experience, going to see a full-blown apparition, which yes, that it has happened. I don't know what they really expect. I think a lot of people watch a lot of TV programs which are really for entertainment, and these things do happen. What they show you on TV, we can do the same, but ours is for real. There's no, we have to get all the shots in, we have to get all, we have to make something happen because it's for TV. What happens, and I always say that, at the end of the evening, forget what you've seen, go home, have a good sleep, and if you loved it, book on the next one. But I don't really know. I don't know about portals. I don't know whether I've ever come across a portal. I don't know.
I've got to admit, I'm still learning about portals. I don't know too much about portals, so I can't help you out very much with that.
So Gemma, when you're being touched or looking at someone or something's moving, and you think something's with you, is that somebody just going about their life from 200 years ago? Do they know you're there? Are they communicating with you? You both told a couple of stories where you feel you're actually talking to them. Is that how it feels?
Yeah, I think when they, if they like, I feel like they want you to know that they're there. They're trying to get a reaction from you. Because why else would they make you, why else would they, what's the need for them to like pull your hair? Or I don't know what you guys think, but
Nobody's ever pulled my hair, Gemma.
no. Well,
But your
I've
beard.
I've had my hair pulled. I've had my someone poke my arm. And funny enough, I can't work this out, and I've had both my ears. It's been freezing cold, and I've had it quite a few times. You know, like if there's a saying, if someone's talking about you, your ears burn, and your ears burn. I don't know what the medical term would be, but for some reason, on 3 or 4 occasions, both my ears have, like, they're burning. And then someone's put the torch on them, or maybe actually sometimes it's just one ear, and then one ear is completely normal colour, and the other ear is like red raw, and you can actually feel the heat coming off of it. So I do not know what that is about, really.
Gemma and her paranormal ears.
Yeah.
But maybe that's how you feel that they're there. Maybe that's your way of them communicating with you.
Yeah, I need to do a bit more research on that, really. But I haven't come across. If there's anyone out there that has felt that with the ears, I'd like to know, because I've never come across anyone else having that with the ear.
You get headaches and feeling of being sick sometimes. And sometimes if you go into a room I normally think, if I go into a room and I just get this like sickness in the pit of my stomach, and I think, oh yeah, I can feel something in here. But yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I just think that they're just people going about their daily business, and we jump in and say, we'd like to communicate with you, we'd like to chat to you, and we do what we do, and they tend to sort of like come and join in if they want to. I don't know.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one place, actually, going back to being scared, and unfortunately you can't get in there at the minute. Well, you can't get in there at all. But there's a place called the Old Lamb, and when we went, I actually took someone with me. She said, I'd love to come on, on an event, and she actually hasn't been on one. She only went on that one, and it scared her so much she hasn't been back. But we were in a room. No, we were in a room, and it was well-known. This room was quite well-known, and we were on the bed. And to be honest with you, I was on the bed, and it actually felt like someone had sat next to me. You know, when you feel like the bed, like someone's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I thought, that's a bit odd. And I felt a little bit cold. Anyway, then my friend, who I brought with me, she sat there where I felt this someone present. I didn't say anything to her at the time, and she sat there. Anyway, I went to get up, and as I got up, she went, oh, like this with her ear, and her earring. She was like, oh my gosh, she said, my earring's falling out. Anyway, I don't know if you remember, Julia. Anyway, we all got up and we got the torch on her, and no word of a lie, her earring was on her lap, and she had a scratch all the way down her neck.
Was it a nice earring?
Oh yeah, it was creepy. Yeah, but so that was a bit creepy. And then another time I'd gone there.
That's probably why she didn't want to come back after they took her earring out and scratched
Well, that
her.
was pretty, yeah, but no, not like that. She just got a bit freak, you know. I think she would probably come back again, but to be honest with you, I'd probably get a bit freaked if that happened to me. But no, and then another time we went there, we were downstairs, and the room we were in, no one was up there at all. And this is one of the things that I've heard. I can still hear it today. I know I'd have lied. Me and this another gentleman, we both looked at each other, and we knew what we were hearing, and we both looked, and he said to me, "Can you hear that?" And I went, "Oh my God." I was just about to say to you, "Can you hear that?" And I can still hear it till this day. It was like, like an old metal, like it was either a tea trolley or like an old nurse's trolley. And all you could hear was it going back and forth. It must have gone back and forth about 20 times. And we couldn't believe it. Anyway, we shot upstairs after. There was no one in that room, and the door was shut.
It's creepy, isn't it?
That was
I remember one time I was in a haunted bedroom, and I was in the bed just trying to get some rest, and my right arm went down, and I actually felt hair in my hand. And what I hadn't realised is the owner of the house, they had a dog. Knowing the dog had crawled into the bed with me, and I suddenly, in the middle of the night, was accompanied by a dog that I didn't even know existed. And if you think that's scary, honestly, putting your hand down and there's like matted hair, and next thing you know, you can feel teeth, and it's somebody's blooming dog. So we're over halfway now, and to help us out, Julia, you had some questions that you pre-prepared for us, and I've got them in front of me.
Oh.
So what I'm going to do now is, and this is your own fault because you wrote these questions, is ask us all, the three of us, a couple of these questions. And one of them was, do you have a special ghost hunting outfit? Because that's quite interesting, because there's at least one person I do know wears full combat gear for one of our.
He does.
He comes with his family, and people do wear special things for their ghost hunting. So tell me, what's your favourite thing to wear? And Julia, I know you have a very expensive pair of trainers. I've never seen those on an event. So what do you prefer?
Do you know, in the beginning, because I'm so tiny, I used to wear not high heeled, but like heeled boots. Because I'm so tiny, I thought it might make me a little bit taller. So I used to wear those, and I used to go up and down the tunnels in them and everything. But 17 years on, we now opt for some nice trainers. So yeah, nice trainers, and sometimes I wear some like leather trousers, or sometimes I might wear, maybe some gym leggings with my Paranation hoodie, and lots and lots of layers. So underneath that sweatshirt, I've probably got about 4 or 5 layers, lots of thin layers, and then a big coat over the top, and that normally keeps me warm.
What about you, Gemma?
Yeah, I'm comfort all the way. I am. I just wear I comfort. The thing that I do always wear is I have I think is it jade? I have like a bracelet. It's like a protection bracelet. Just so I'm protected.
Okay.
What about you, Mark? Do you wear anything special?
So
well, I know I'm going to be stumbling around in either low light or the dark. So I will definitely wear something that, if so I don't slip and fall over. So you don't wear something that isn't like trainers or boots or anything like that, because I always want to be able to sort of trip and catch myself, because quite often with these old places, the floors are not flat and what have you. And like yourself, you can never quite predict what the temperature is going to be. So any person who's thinking of coming along, do what I do, which is wear like lots of different layers, like you two have mentioned, because sometimes it's really hot. Brighton police cells have got a central heating system that goes all the way down the middle, and it's like 20 plus degrees. And then sometimes you could be in a castle courtyard in the middle of January. So you really have to dress for anything, I think. And I'll also sometimes wear a watch that might glow in the dark so I can tell what time it is. I don't do what a lot of people do, which is have pockets full of equipment. We do have some people who love their equipment, don't they? And they will have special bags, backpacks, and torches and all sorts.
Yeah. Do you know, I think that's something that I might be looking into, because I have a bag I carry around with me, but I think I'd like something actually on me. Like that's got like
tactical vest.
pocket. That's what I'm after. Yeah, that's what I think
vest.
I'm gonna
You're
get.
going to have a tactical vest. I sometimes take a laser grid as well as a torch, because they're little. And a laser grid will put all those spots across the wall, won't it? And you can see when something's walking by. And the only reason I take my laser grid is because it's so cool. When you're down in some sort of corridor or dungeon, it puts this wonderful pattern across the wall and everywhere. You're like in Blackpool Illuminations all of a sudden. And it does create a really good atmosphere. So I do that as well. So that's one of your questions, Julie. I'm going to hit you with another one. And this is, if you could communicate with a famous person ghost, who would it be and what would you ask them? So there's an eclectic question for you. As I say, you wrote this, so this is your question.
I did. I did. Gemma, if you could communicate with a famous person ghost, who would it be and what would you ask them?
Good one. I don't know.
I should have put more thought into this.
Well, you should have thought of an answer, that's for sure. Quite often we end up talking, there's a lot of talk about famous people who've lived in that place, isn't there? So you'll have kings and queens and princes and princesses places sometimes if we go to a big hall. So I can remember in one hall there was a long conversation about, we were Googling who were members of this royal family that might be present at the time. I remember that was really interesting. I don't know if I'm not sure who I'd ask as a sort of famous person, celebrity or something, because that would be a very strange question. But I do know we do a lot of history, don't we, when we go to places? You look deep in thought, Gemma. Have you got an answer yet? Are you going to...
I'm still thinking. Yeah, I do agree with you. I don't know if I would want to ask, like you said, like a famous face. Like I think I'd like to ask, like historical, like I don't know, like kings and queens, and I don't know. I need to think on that one, really.
Maybe like Henry VIII, because we go to a lot of places where Henry VIII is.
Yeah,
maybe sort of like say to him,
yeah,
why did you not get on with any of your wives?
So here's another one.
Because he went through quite a few, didn't he?
He did. He went through 6 apparently.
So why did he not, maybe at least, keep the second one or the third one and go through so many?
He chopped the head off the second one, didn't he? So
he did.
It was unbelievable. I've got a controversial one from you, Julia. So you're going to have to wait. You wrote this, so you're going to have to think about this one. But is there ever a concern about stirring up spirits? that might be best left alone?
Oh, that's a good one. I think that when people come, we always say that we're only communicating with the people that have had any connection to the building. So anybody that has lived there, if it's an old house or old mansion house, or anybody that worked there, we are not communicating with any like relatives or anything like that. But I think, there's always that concern where people might go off and like try and raise something evil. So yeah, I think there is always that concern, but we always make it very clear that we only want to contact people that are.
And also I think with that also, I think I've been experienced when someone, because I don't do Ouija boards or anything, but but when some people have been on them, they have got like dark, I don't know if you call them dark, like not evil, I'm not sure, but someone there trying to be, I don't know how this works either, but they're trying to mask a spirit, which I can't work out. But it's like someone's dark, I don't know if it's a dark spirit. Do you know what I mean, Julia?
Yeah, and they're trying to be somebody else.
I can never work that out, but I think that's a bit not right.
I think sometimes when you're doing like the glass or whatever you're doing, you can just tell when it takes a turn.
Yeah,
and you just get that
they
feeling when
swearing and they get quite abusive. I don't think you need that, really.
if we ever feel like
it down. You do close it down.
If we ever feel it's getting a little bit, unsettled, we just think, right, let's just close this down because this is just going a little bit in the wrong direction. Far. So but we try our best to keep everybody safe. I think they've got to do their bit and keep themselves safe as well, and to keep us safe by not, going off and trying to conjure up anything that they shouldn't be conjuring up.
So we've been to quite a few wonderful places with Paranation. I mean, we get to crawl over theatres that are closed. We get to go through tunnels. I've even found a hidden room that nobody knew about. Even the owners didn't know they had that room. But one of your questions, that's a very pertinent one, is what's top of your bucket list? Where have you not been that you would really like to go? And why?
Oh, mine is the Queen Mary ship, Long Beach, California.
Okay, I think we know the why in that one. What about you, Gemma?
I don't really have one, really. Do you know, I don't have a specific place, but I would love to go to Scotland.
Maybe do Mary King's Close.
I'd love to go to Scotland. That would definitely be a tick to do something in Scotland. But I don't have a specific. I haven't got anything specifically. But I don't know why Scotland. I'm not sure. I think when you grow up, you hear lots of spooky stories about Scotland, but I'd like to go to Scotland, but not what about you, Mark?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to go to, is it East Drive, the one that was in the film?
Yes.
See, I've never been to that one. And the thing I really like about that one is you can only have up to about 6 people. And I love those events where there's only a few of them. I mean, what we do is we split up into little groups of about that number and we go scatter ourselves to the 4 winds. But that place has quite a good reputation. I'd love to do that. And anywhere that's appeared in a film, I think has got to be quite cool, hasn't it? And I've never done a council house. I've done people's houses where they've asked us in and asked us to investigate because they've seen things. But I've never actually just gone in a straight up normal house and sort of played with that sort of thing. So that's what I'd like to do, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, Mark. 100%. Yeah, I'd like to do that one. I've heard lots of things on that though. I've heard, you know, it's all but I don't care what I've heard. I'd still like to go in there and see what it's about, really.
And one of Julia's questions is a very obvious question: is where's the most haunted place you've actually visited? So, in your opinion, what is the sort of most active? Is the words that we would use, isn't it?
They're all pretty much active. Most of the ones that we go to, we tend to get a good amount of activity, but I think the one that scared me the most, I think last year, has to be Shepton Mallet. I went off on my own about 4 or 5 in the morning, and I thought, right, I'm going to go down a wing, just walk down a wing, walk back up a wing, and record it. Simple. Went in on my own, about 2-3 foot into one of the wings. I forget which one it was, might have been B wing. And you just got that sense of, you know, there's something not quite right in here. So I thought, oh, I'll just stay by the door, keep my foot open, you know, to get the door open with my foot so I'm going to get out quick. And I just called out saying, oh, you know, if there's anybody here, hello, hello, is anybody here, hello? And you could hear with your ears people down the wing going, hello, hello, all different voices. And then I was out of there. That really, I just couldn't, you know, there was nothing going to get me to walk down there and back, because it was just really, I keep disappearing, don't I? I'm like a ghost there. That has to be quite eerie. Did you go to that one, Mark?
No, but I'm going
I've
with
never
you
been to
in
that.
about a month, aren't I?
Oh, you didn't do it either, did you, Gemma?
But we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Mate,
on
yeah.
very soon.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
No.
No, I've never been. I wanted to go last year, but I couldn't go. So
Are you going next month? Are you joining us next month?
Yeah.
3rd of May.
3rd of May. You'll probably hear me scream if it's that active.
Well, it will
Honestly,
echo as well in Shepton Mallet. It's an enormous place, isn't it?
it is huge. It is huge. I couldn't believe how big it was, and we had a big group last time, just because it was the first time we ever went. But I think this time we're going to take a smaller group, and even with the amount of people there, you still felt isolated and you still felt on your own. Like there was only a group of like 6 or 8 of you. And when I went off on my own, I think that's got to be one of the times I felt quite scared.
Yeah, I definitely won't be going on my own anyway.
Well, normally when we do events, you know, you walk around to see where everybody is. You're quite happy to walk around on your own, you know, go back to, you know, go to loo or grab a coffee, then walk back again. Fort Woodley, that's another one I don't particularly like going up and down on my own, because I know that scary things have happened to me. But Shepton Mallet's a completely different level of, you know, if you want to go around on your own, I think you need nerves of steel to do it. I might be brave next time.
The one that surprised me the most was the Warrior. I think for me, I was like, oh, a boat. I don't really get excited.
And it was on the water as well, so it was all a bit
on the water. So Julia's going to be scared because Julia's a swimmer. But I just thought, all right.
Stormy as well. It was really
and lightning, thunder, and all that sort of stuff. But the other thing I didn't realise was just how big that boat is.
It doesn't look it, does it?
Over 10 minutes to walk from one end to the other, and so many places for people to disappear into. Absolutely massive. You could put 100 people on it and you'd have lost half of them in the first 5 minutes.
You didn't actually even feel like you were on a boat. It just
it was so big, wasn't it? Yeah. And the other thing I like about it is there's always a moment where the same people always get together for 5 minutes at the end and sort of talk about what we're doing and all the rest of it. And some of us have been up on the decks, and anybody with hair looked like they'd been dragged through a hedge backwards because of the storm. And we were all sitting around a big bench at the end talking about how wonderful the night had been. And that was a really, really enjoyable experience for me. But I wasn't looking forward to it at all, really. I just didn't think, oh, it's going to be I don't know why I thought it would be like a boat on the Norfolk Broads or something, but it didn't appeal at all, and it turned out to be amazing. But the one I love is the Ram. I love the Ram because that's got that real dark, nasty, haunted house, kind of grimy, covered in cobwebs, 4-poster bed vibe to it. But it's also labyrinthine. It just makes no sense geographically. You know, if you suddenly need the toilet in the middle of the night, you could be gone for half an hour just trying to find the thing. And that I thought was dead creepy. Everything was narrow and grungy, and so that was a good place. And I was with someone who at the time said, this place is evil, I'm not going in there. So you do get that sort of vibe from some places sometimes.
Was that your first time?
Sorry? First time in the Ram, that was. Yeah.
Oh, same here. I think Ben and Dave are just talking in the comments, and they said that that's their favourite place to Ram and they'd like to go back. So yeah, maybe we'll go. Maybe we'll return this year.
Yeah, because when we last went, I you know, like we say, sometimes you go and it's not active, but when I last went, I got in there and I felt sick because, you know, there was a bit with people commenting going, we only lasted 1 hour and then we had to go. And I thought, oh my gosh, what have I let myself in for? I was like, oh my. And I was so worried, but nothing, for me, nothing really happened. So I'd like to go back to be proven otherwise and for something to see what other people have seen. That's what I want to go. So I'd like to go back. I'd like to give it another go. 100%.
Yeah, I'd like to give it another go. And I think that it's also about the people that go, you know, and the energy of people that go.
Yeah.
And also, you know, we did like an all-nighter there. And I think if I was to go back again, I think I would probably do it shorter.
Yeah.
You know, same with Shepton Mallet. We did an all-nighter there. And, you know, to be honest, people go, oh, I'm going to stay awake all night hunting ghosts. But, you know, by the time it gets to about 2-3 o'clock, people have, you know, they're shattered. They just want their beds, really.
So we've only got a few minutes left. So I'm going to ask you your most pertinent question, Julia, and it is, would you describe yourself as a firm believer in the afterlife and the spirit world, or are you somewhere in the middle?
I have sort of like thought about this, and, you know, sometimes I sort of think, you know, is it all suggestive thinking if you've all got your fingers on the glass, you know, and people ask a question, go here for yes, there for no? Is it, you know, mind over matter type thing? You know, someone says something and, you know, you all subconsciously move it without knowing. Same with the board. You know, I've gone through all these questions in my head over the years. And yeah, you know, you could say it's, you know, oh, you know, if you're on the board and someone says, oh, can you spell your name? It goes to A. Oh, it's Albert. Is your name Albert? And then it spells Albert. You could think, oh, is that suggestive thinking? And subconsciously, the people are moving it to Albert to spell Albert. So there's an element of that there. But then things have happened. I've caught things in photos and videos are my main interest. I've caught things in photos. I've caught things in videos, like the man in the cellar at Wimmering. I can't explain it. I know nothing was there. I know that me and Gemma were the only people in there. So yeah, I'd like to sit on the fence and say that, you know, it could be mind over matter. It could be people sort of like making it go. but things have happened, and it's, you know, things have been spelt, things have been drawn. Like when we did the Devizes Town Hall last
Oh,
month, was it? It was spelling
mm,
help me, rape me, help me, help, rape me, you know, and it's like, God, where did that come from? We wouldn't write that. No one would write that. You know, help me, rape me, help me, rape me, help me. You know, it's just bizarre. Where would that come from? So yeah, I think I am a believer. I am a believer that, you know, they are around, um, especially from what I've experienced over the years.
What about you, Gemma?
oh, 100% believer. I agree with Julia with is it mind over matter, you know, with the glass and the board. But I've seen and heard too much stuff um, for it not to be believable, you know. So I'm team believer, 100%. What about
And
you, Mark?
none of it's faked, is it?
No.
I'm much more cynical. I'm half and half.
Okay.
I'm hard to please. The reason I always turn up at Paranation events is the company, the
Yeah.
location. It's a great group of people. We've known each other a long time, some of us, and it's just great company and great fun. What keeps me going is the people, and also the fact that I have no idea whether there's ghosts or
Yeah.
not. And it's the like one of life's greatest adventures is trying to find out, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
that's really why I come along.
Yeah. And like you said, Mark, I 100 I feel what you're saying. It for me it's like it's very social. I would never thought I would come ghost hunting and think it would be like that at the beginning, but for me it's social. Believe it or not, I do suffer with a bit of anxiety, and it's really helped me. And I thank Paranation and everyone that I've met because yeah, I love it. You know, I look forward to going. And yeah, I just love meeting all the different people, walks of life. And I've met people I would never have probably normally met, you know, so I'm very grateful. And it's a very oh, it's everyone's just so lovely, you know, like you, likewise, Mark, you know. Um, yeah, it's great company, definitely.
I just think it, you know, with ghost hunting, it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is, you know, where you've come from. Um, you know,
Mm,
it doesn't matter. You know, you step through the door on an event, you leave everything behind, all your worries
yeah,
and that, you know, it's a completely different world.
yeah,
Everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's, you know, in the same vicinity, and they're all doing what they enjoy. And
mm,
everyone likes each other. Everyone's friends with each other. You know, there's no animosity or anything like that. It's just great fun. And I've met some really good people over the years, made some really good friends, lifelong
yeah,
friends,
yeah,
um, which, you know, hopefully will be around for many years to come. So um, yeah, it's hard work, but you know, you know, if everybody can take away something from the event, oh, this happened, wasn't that great? You know, it makes everything worthwhile. But
definitely.
yeah, we got some really made some really good friends over the years, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely.
And here we are. We've just
Yeah.
completed our second only ever experimental podcast.
I
So,
know, I know, I know.
shall we
And
say
we've gone
goodbye to
on.
everyone?
Shall we say goodbye to everybody? Yeah, let's say goodbye to everybody.
Bye.
Thank you everybody for listening and watching. Um, you know, if anybody would like to come on and join us at some point, send us a message. You're more than welcome to come on and join our team, and we'll try and make it exciting for you. Our next event is Saturday. This Saturday, we're at Noaf, as in Loaf Fort in Weymouth, and we're there from 7 till 1. We've brought the times forward because the clocks go forward on Sunday, and what if everybody's travelling, we've decided to start a little bit earlier and finish a little bit earlier. Still got 6 hours. So we're Noaf as in Loaf on Saturday. Looking forward to going and having a look around there. Never been there before. Then 2 weeks time we're at Widley, and then before we know it, we're at Shepton Mallet, which is going to be fantastic. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the one I'm really excited about. Oh, apart from Noaf. But yeah, thank you ever so much for listening, everybody, and we will see you in a couple of weeks or so. And we're going to end it there. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Just trying to end it.